Wednesday morning. Thanks for joining us here in our WSAZ Plus studio. I'm WSAZ's Kimberly Keggy. We certainly appreciate it. We have got a lot of stories that we are following this morning. Some of them happening right now, and we're going to get to those. But there were a couple of big stories that will impact a lot of people. And one in particular that I'm thinking about that we're going to go ahead and hit on this morning is, of course, the high school athletic transfer bill. But before we go to that, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about some breaking news that we're following this morning. We have an update for you, so I'm going to pull up some video so we can all talk about it. So this is the Silver Memorial Bridge. We can tell you that bridge has now reopened after a tractor trailer had crashed there last night. So this happened in Gaia County, Ohio. The Ohio State Highway Patrol says that tractor trailer was traveling southeast on US 35 near the Silver Memorial Bridge around 9 o'clock. When it drove right off to the side of the roadway, hitting a guardrail and a concrete wall. You can see just the massive response that it took to get that under control. And of course, in the meantime, it had really backed up traffic. There are so many truck drivers that use US 35. And you could tell that that was a lot of the people that were impacted. They went on to say, investigators said the tractor trailer then continued on the bridge, and that's where it hit a concrete wall and overturned. So a massive response. This happened about 9 o'clock on last night. And so they worked throughout the night to get that under control as they were dealing with that. And so you can tell, just like we said, the massive police response, the amount of time that it took, a rescue effort and a cleanup effort that was really meticulous in the time that it happened. So, initially there was some traffic that was shut down. We can tell you just about 6:30 this morning, a little after then, that's when the bridge reopened. So let's paint the picture again. Happened at around 9 last night. So you can tell several hours it took for first responders to be able to clean up that area, make sure that it was good to go, make sure that the bridge itself was safe after that concrete wall was hit. And so right now they say, thankfully the driver was not injured, but they are still working to determine what caused that crash in the first place. So that is some good news. If you do use that way to travel to and from, we can tell you that that's reopened. So, all right, the story that I was teasing a little bit earlier, and we know that this has been such a talker in our communities, is the transfer rule for high school athletics. So this was a big talker yesterday as well in the West Virginia legislature as a new proposed bill went through the House Education Committee, and it would repeal the current rules that surround high school transfers and athletic eligibility in the state. So let's break that down. Remember that, now they have the rules that were passed in 2023, and that allows all high school athletic students to transfer schools at any point in the year, and they can keep their athletic eligibility for the next season. So it's been 3 years, and we've heard from, several people. I think a lot of people have shared their opinions and say, hey, we're really in favor of it. Some, and I think this has what, Delegate Dana Farrell had really put forth yesterday in the committee. He said, we're calling it a Wild West. It has just made things so difficult. And so they're considering reverting the rules back to how they were in the 22 season. So for that, there were only 2 ways that students could transfer without needing permission. They would have to either transfer outside their home district before their freshman year, or they could transfer back to their home district at the beginning of the year. So a little bit different in the sense of the rules were different. And then anyone who wanted to transfer outside of those 2 rules, those were the only 2 exceptions, they would have to apply for a waiver with the West Virginia Secondary Schools Activities Commission. And we actually spoke with the executive director yesterday, Wayne Ryan. He says, and I think once you hear these numbers, you'll kind of hear from their perspective. But he was telling us there's been more than 1,200 transfers since the 2023-2024 school year, and they're expecting more to happen this spring. And so when you think about this, I want to put this in comparison because this is what he was talking about. He said the numbers were so low in previous years during the transfers that they didn't even really keep track of the numbers. It wasn't until after those rules had changed that they went back and looked at them. And he said there was, so let's paint those numbers again, right? 1,200 transfers, more than 1,200 transfers since the 2023-2024 school year, and they're expecting more. Wayne Ryan telling us that that's quadruple the yearly average of transfers before the current rule was put into place. So that would be the 22 season. He said there were just more than 400 per year, and that was compared to around 100 per year in 2023. So it has really taken off, and we've started to see a lot of student athletes transfer. And you think about it, high school sports, it is what our weeks revolve around. Nearly every family, whether you have an athlete in your family, you've likely gone to a game. You have to think about, the band supports the football team. They perform at halftime. And so, there are so many different people involved in this. And it's not just football, but that is particularly where they've seen a lot of the transfers happen. And we heard from some lawmakers yesterday in committee. They said this has changed our communities. There are so many people. You think about sports as such a community involvement. And he says some of the student athletes didn't grow up in these communities. They're playing for schools that weren't there before, or they didn't have experience with. They didn't grow up there. And so Wayne Ryan, the executive director of the West Virginia Secondary Schools Activities Commission, telling us he hopes that they will pass this legislation and the rules will be essentially reset to how they were. They'll revert back to the 2022 rules. And it's really been a big talker, when you're looking at that. So as far as, of course, Wayne Ryan talking about the number of waivers that were requested, we told you, they said they didn't track it. The West Virginia Secondary Schools Activities Commission didn't track it. So at the end of the day, they are kind of trying to work on that. And we could expect to see some movement in the legislature today on this. It's set to be voted on the House Education Committee. Now, if passed, it will head to the House floor and then to the Senate. So we still have a little bit. It's about day 43, I believe, in the legislature, so 60-day session. But we still have enough time where we could see some movement and this cross into the Senate. And so, that is one bill in particular that we're following. It has really been a big talker for a lot of people and a lot of families. So we are expecting to see some type of traction on that. And we're going to be following that today in particular in the West Virginia legislature. So, one other story, and I'm going to pull up some video for us. But before we do that, let's go ahead and talk about an incident that happened this morning. So in Roane County, West Virginia, there's an investigation there right now after pepper spray was used on a school bus. This incident happened this morning. Roane County Schools says an elementary school student sprayed it while on their way to school. So once the bus got to the school, the nursing staff along with EMS, they evaluated each student, made sure that they were okay. There was nobody injured, we're told by school district officials, and no one was taken to the hospital. Now, as a precaution, some parents did end up picking up their kids, but like we said, nobody was injured. So that's an investigation that's happening right now in Roane County, West Virginia. We're still working to get some details on that, and we do expect an update pretty shortly from the superintendent in that district. So, they certainly had their hands tied up this morning, as we can imagine. So that was one story that we're also keeping a close eye, and I'm going to pull up the notes here. So, right. Okay. So nothing really new in that statement from the school district. I just wanted to make sure we weren't missing any information that we could tell you about. So, but that is also one that we're following. And then last night was the State of the Union. President Donald Trump addressing the nation for a good portion of the evening. And let's go ahead and pull up. And you may have noticed if you had heard last night in that meeting, as he addressed the nation. There were 2 West Virginia National Guard members that were called out during that State of the Union. He took time. You can tell there, this video is of Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf, and he was there at the address. This is him being recognized. This is the first time that he's been out of the hospital. And so Wolf, along with Sarah Beckstrom, were 2 West Virginia National Guards members that were shot in the line of duty, and they were honored by President Donald Trump during the State of the Union last night. The ceremony, very emotional on Capitol Hill, as the president awarded Purple Hearts to Andrew Wolf and to the family of fallen Army Specialist Sarah Beckstrom. So Wolf is still recovering at this point from a severe head injury, and he's actually going to have to go back for additional surgery in the coming weeks. Beckstrom's family accepted the medal in her honor after she died from her injuries just a day after the attack. So that was a very emotional moment on Capitol Hill, and very fitting, I think, for the entire nation to watch that as President Donald Trump addressed it. You know, that was a story that we had been following. This all happened right before Thanksgiving last year, and so it was so wonderful to see, you know, Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf be out and just get out of the hospital. He's had a very intensive recovery, and he mentioned, you know, I still have a long ways to go, but that is one other that we are following. And this happening in Clay County, you may notice this bald eagle. Well, he's also on the road to recovery after he was hit by a car. They're trying to help him recover and get back to good health. So the vets at Good Shepherd Veterinarian Hospital say x-rays showed 3 total breaks. But there was actually another issue that this bald eagle is dealing with. He's suffering from lead poisoning, according to the executive director of Three Rivers Aviation Center, Avian Center, excuse me. And so the director says, you know, while those recovery efforts are working, it'll take a little bit of longer time for him. And so, because he has to undergo a certain type of therapy to work the lead out of his system, which can take a while. That's the bald eagle right there. He also has a pin in his wing to help heal those broken bones. You know, he had 3 total breaks that he was dealing with. So, you know, this all happened again, like we said, in Clay County. He was hit by a car, and then unfortunately they found out that he had lead poisoning as well. So, you know, that is one that has certainly captured the hearts of many as we see that symbol of American pride. He's actually quite big, that bald eagle is. So that's a look at some of our stories that we are following today. We certainly appreciate you joining us here for your morning headlines and a check of what we are following today. We do know that there are a couple of pets of the week. Every Wednesday here at WSAZ, we get a couple of pets of the week that come into our studio. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a little teaser here because you have to meet these cute little guys. These are 8-week-old puppies that will be on our midday show. And I mean, how could you not love those faces? So these little guys are looking for some a furry home, a forever home. And so, you know, I actually love their names because they're named after some famous chefs. We've got Guy Fieri, Bobby Flay, and Gordon Ramsay. So you can meet these little guys on our midday show as they are looking for their forever home. They're able to be adopted. And so, you know, if you're interested, Rob and Martina will get to meet the little guys today at midday, so that's a great way. That's just one story to stay with us for. So we certainly appreciate you joining us here for WSAZ Plus, a look at your morning headlines, and I hope you guys have a great day.